in your mind, for you and for I. I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah. I mean besides, but your feelings inside you, I'm messing up my mind.
Yo, what's up, everyone? This is episode 46 of Inside the RV. This is a podcast about entrepreneurship, work ethic, self-development, and becoming the best version of yourself. You're joined by your two lovely hosts. I'm one of them, Jacob Moore.
I'm the other one, Ryan Ramirez.
Together, we are a dynamic duo trying to be successful in the music industry. We're going to tell you about the ups and downs, the good and the bad, the amazingness, the downfalls, everything in between on this podcast as we experience it. And today we have an awesome guest. I'm very, very excited. She is just an unbelievable woman who has built a great brand inside and outside of music. And I think she can give a really great perspective on what it's like to build a brand, to be an entrepreneur. And she can give a lot of good advice, just kind of upcoming and what it's like to actually continue to be successful with a stabilized brand. Because I would say that your brand with Petals Poison right now is like very active, very stable. Mm-hmm. And so traversing that and keeping that stability is going to be an awesome discussion. So everyone, we got Jená Bone from Petals Poison. Round of applause.
Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming. Can you put the mic just a tiny bit closer?
Yes.
Just a tiny bit closer.
Is this better?
That is much better. Yeah, much better. Yeah, we appreciate you being on. So for those that don't know you, you are the founder of Petals Poison, mm-hmm. right? Can you get into that and tell us what Petals Poison is?
So Petals Poison is actually kind of like just this gothic fantasy that I just really wanted to bring to the world, mm-hmm. because I feel like a lot of the world kind of just is so modern now, and they've kind of lost the romantic side of things like back like in the day. Mm-hmm. So I decided to start a brand that kind of encapsulates just like gothic romanticism and just like antiques without them actually being antiques, and mm-hmm. just kind of my love for just storytelling. So that's kind of what my brand is about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How'd you get the name?
It's kind of dumb, but the name kind of came along because I love really dark and spooky stuff, mm-hmm. but I also really like light and pretty stuff. So that's mm-hmm. where like Petals is pretty and Poison is like dark, and like so it's the two sides of like who I am.
So did you grow up watching like Tim Burton?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Tim Burton was like my favorite thing. Like I always joke with my mom because the movie that she watched in theaters with my dad when I was in her stomach was Nightmare Before Christmas, so I blame her for all my spooky love. So yeah,
that was like just put into your brain. Yeah. As a fetus in the womb, you came out.
I was like, this is the one.
That's cool. When did you start Petals Poison?
I want to say I started in 2014. Mm-hmm. I did originally work for a handbag company as a graphic designer, so that's kind of what my first job was. But then that company actually moved like out of the country, so I was like, shoot, I don't want to move out of the country. So I decided to start crafting because that's something I've always loved to do. And I just kind of put myself out there. I actually started on Depop. I don't know if you guys know what Depop is.
Yeah.
So I started just selling my wares there. Yeah. And then it kind of weirdly grew a following. So I just kept making more and more to the point where I was getting custom orders and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I need a bigger platform. So I moved from Depop to having my own website. Nice. And that's just kind of how that started. And I really just full force made my brand just like visually appealing, I guess, on Instagram. Yeah. So that's kind of...
When you were on Depop, how consistent were you like posting like new stuff and being active on there?
I would say at least once a week. I was pretty active on Depop because I had nothing else to do. I literally was out of a job. So I was like, okay, like what can I scrounge up to make and like what can I learn? So that's kind of what I did. And it started off with like really like Petals Poison started off with like baby doll like necklaces, like really weird. Mm-hmm. So those were like super cheap to get. So I could like paint on them and make them into necklaces, which was super cheap. And then the markups that I was able to put on them was what would help me save to start growing my business. So that's kind of what that was.
Gotcha.
Wow. So did you start off with one single product, or did you kind of brainstorm, I'm going to start with 10 products, whatever? What was it?
It really honestly was just whatever I felt like making.
Oh, cool.
Because I had always wanted to put out my art into the world as some stuff that I would personally want to buy. So, for instance, I was like, well, I want to do like a baby doll necklace. So, like, I just did that. Or like, oh, like I wanted to do like crystal jewelry. So I like made crystal jewelry just because I felt like it. And it just got a really good response. And because I already kind of had an aesthetic for myself, I was able to just kind of implement that into my brand already. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So was this kind of something where you saved up money, did everything, it was just a one-man band, or did you have an investor, or how did that start?
It was a one-man band.
Oh, wow.
I definitely was saving money from when I was at my original job. and I didn't have anybody help me. I was blessed enough to have parents who are also business people.
Nice.
Where they've always had their own business, and like whether it was like some of it's failed, some of it hasn't failed, you know? So I learned a lot, and I think the most valuable lesson that I learned from that was, one, save your money. Make sure you always have savings no matter what. And then if you can ship a package, you can run a store. So that was the biggest thing that I learned was, if you can ship a package, you can get a job anywhere that needs to ship packages. You can run your own business if you can ship a package.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's always stuck with me. So it's like, it was awesome finally getting like my first package out like on my own. So yeah.
That's dope.
So fast forward to today. I mean, like, what's kind of your daily like shipping rate? Like, do you ever think back and you're like, damn, I just shipped that first package. I remember how great that was. Now I'm shipping like 10 packages a day, like 15, you know?
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes like I'll have to take 2 days just to like fulfill orders just from the weekend. Like just like from the weekend alone. And I have to constantly be like packaging orders every day, or I'll get super behind.
Yeah.
Does that fill up like your whole day usually?
It does. I tend to have a little bit of leeway time because I've kind of gotten into the groove of making things efficient. So, which is nice. And like most of my stuff weighs the same. So it's kind of easy to just like, okay, I can type in, like, I know exactly how much this weighs. So I can just print out all the labels and then package them.
Oh, nice.
Instead of having to do it one by one. So that's like another thing that I found has helped a lot, like for my business, at least time efficiency. So
how crucial is Instagram towards what you do? Like, do you feel like it helps like a lot, or it's like the main runner for it, or what do you think?
It's definitely my main runner.
Okay.
I am trying to get a presence more on YouTube as well as TikTok. TikTok, weirdly, it does well whenever I post about my husband, but like not
I've
about
seen
myself,
those. Yeah,
which
I've
is
seen
really
those.
weird.
People like couples, that's why.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, so I gotta like use that to my advantage on TikTok. But Instagram, honestly, most of my customers have definitely come from Instagram. And a lot of people have actually still been following me from my Depop days, which has been forever. It's really cool actually to see, and like they still order from me. So yeah, I would say Instagram's super important right now. It's a pain. The algorithm is horrible, and it's affecting all small businesses and artists right now. So everyone is really trying to figure out like a new avenue to do all of that. But that's why for me, it's important to kind of have your hand in multiple social media, is only because Instagram right now is just kind of tanking, and they already just said like, oh, we're going to try to focus on reels and stuff, which is annoying. But yeah, it is what it is. You just keep pushing.
Was when you started Petals and Poison, was that the first business entrepreneurial thing you had ever done?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of had ideas ever since I was little, but nothing really clicked until Petals and Poison, because I think I finally figured my groove out into it. And of course, like I had a lot of support from my family, and of course my husband, when he was dating me, like everybody really supported like what I did, like when I had good days and bad days and stuff like that. And it was just really nice to have that support team, because that's really just kind of what pushed it into what it is.
So speaking of husband, so how key is it? So if you're like an entrepreneur or artist, or you're all that, but like how key is it for your significant other to be supportive for that, and like as far as time and all that kind of stuff, like how key is that?
It's huge. For me, knowing that my husband has my back in everything that I do is just the biggest blessing to me. And like he'll take me to like the post office. He'll literally like do what he needs to do like to help me out. He's always just been like a helping hand. He's like, hey, what can I do? He'll help me at shows and stuff like that. And obviously if like my music video, he was in it. So like he was just like, yeah, I'll be in it. So for me, it helps a lot because my relationship with my husband is so important, and so is my job. And I love the fact that he supports me and wants to be there for me. And plus we're a team. Like he's my best friend. So I would hope my best friend would want to support me and like be a part of it as well. So yeah.
I think that's just a part of the greater conversation of, and we say this all the time on the podcast, surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Oh yeah.
You know,
that's the biggest thing.
Because I mean, you could probably attest to this, you know, like I'm realizing as I get older and as my time is more limited, and like me and Ryan are doing more stuff. And then I also have like another, like my candle business and you help me a bunch on that, you know, and then I have like my day job that like supplements everything. It's just like, man, like my energy gets consumed so easily, you know, like one bad conversation with someone that like puts me off or something. I'm like, fuck, dude, like that just killed my day, you know? So I think what you're saying is so important, because like whenever I meet other entrepreneurs and we're talking about like, you know, how to stay afloat, how to keep yourself going forward every single day, like getting yourself up in the morning, the one commonality I hear from, you know, people in my network who are like making millions of dollars, and then people like us who are on their way to do that, the number one thing is like, dude, surround yourself with good people. Because that's the biggest thing.
I feel like the higher up you go, the more sensitive you are to feeling like who drains your energy and who lifts you up.
Yeah.
Because before, like for me at least, it was like really hazy. Like, I don't know, like they're supportive of me, but I don't like, there's something about it that just brings me down a little bit. But now, like, at least for me, it's crystal clear. Like, yeah, when I hang with this person, like my energy is like decreasing. And like when I'm with this person, I feel inspired and I work harder. So I think that's a key element too.
Yeah. Totally.
What's another kind of big like personal development thing that has happened to you? So like obviously you learned like your relationship with your husband is so important, and that your family is supportive, and those who are in your small circle really, really matter. Is there any other big thing that pops into your head like, man, this really has impacted me?
I think mainly just like experience, if that makes any sense. Like for me, I started manufacturing stuff as of last year because most of my stuff is handmade, and having to finally like have that courage to actually dive in and buying things like in bulk as a small business is really scary, but it's something you have to do. So for me, that actually made me grow a ton in my business. Speaking of which, like this year, I've had problems with all of my manufacturers.
Wow.
Like last year was perfect. This year was a disaster, but I learned from it. You know what I mean? So I think that like having good people in your circle, and then also just jumping into things, even if you're terrified of doing it, like to me, like that's kind of like the two biggest things that like I personally like think are huge and important in a business, because if you are hesitant, you lose out on what could have been.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
that's funny. That's like, I think that's like what entrepreneurship is.
Oh yeah.
It's like the definition that I say is damn, I'm forgetting it now. We haven't said it in so long, but it's like
aggressive patience. That one.
Like entrepreneurship is embarking on a venture that has uncertainty, right? Like that's the biggest part of entrepreneurship, is there's going to be risk, there's going to be uncertainty. And something that Ryan told me a long time ago when I was like in college making like $12 an hour or whatever, and I was like, dude, we got to like watch our funds and stuff. But I had an account like for business stuff, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is my capital, so like it should be spent. And Ryan sat me down, he went, Jacob, scared money doesn't make money.
Yeah,
like it takes $1 to make $1, you know, you told me that. And then like my brother, who's an entrepreneur, my cousins who's an entrepreneur, and I come from an entrepreneurial family as well. Like my dad owned a business for, 14 years. And so I realized, I was like, damn, dude, like if I don't spend this money, if I don't buy those candle supplies in bulk or whatever, like I'm literally just going to sit there and be like, well, what would have happened? I wonder what would have. Or I could take that risk and like bet on myself and trust myself that I'll make that money back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So let's talk about the music now.
Okay.
So you have a band, right?
I do, kind of. It's really just me and my friend Grazi. We both literally create all the music and all the lyrics and stuff. And actually the first 2 to 4 songs, the first 4 songs were mostly like my like ideas that I was like, hey, you want to help make this real? So he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we're actually working on another song, which was our first one that we did just on a whim together, which I'm really excited about. And I think that's going to be our next song that's coming out. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
Oh, just curious about the music. I was going to ask you too, because you said you kind of have like a following, like with your other, like with your brand, like what you sell and stuff. Does that ever bleed into like do those people listen to your music and stuff? Does
Big
it kind of?
time. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's definitely something that I wanted to make sure was integrated into itself. So technically my band name is Petals Poison as well. And it's nice because I'm able to release collections inspired by the songs.
Nice.
And people are able to buy stuff that's inspired by the songs, and then they'll listen to the songs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's smart.
It's really cool.
Hell
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially for the first single that we came out with. I worked really hard with 2 other friends of mine that run small businesses. And one of them, their username is Little Ghouls. They're actually twins, and they do music as well under the name of Satin Puppets. And they're definitely also like gothy and creepy and really like interesting. And they helped me make candles because they're really popular for their candles. And I was like, hey, like, can you like do this for the collection? And then I reached out, or actually another company called Eclectic Beauty Cosmetics reached out to me and was like, hey, can I do a makeup line for it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So
nice.
We kind of just put all of our heads together and made like this big collection, and people were going crazy.
Wow.
So it was really cool, especially collaborations, especially when you have a circle of creatives that are willing to help you out and like vice versa. It's really cool to see like their fans go to you and like just kind of share it, which I love the whole thing about like community over competition, which is so interesting because as an entrepreneur, you're ingrained that everything's competition, which there's nothing bad about competition. But what I love is finding that small community of other artists that are there to support you.
Yeah.
And again, it's community over competition, whether you make similar stuff like I make candles, they make candles, but I will reach out to them to like make a specific thing. So like it's kind of cool. So yeah.
Because collabs are important too and stuff.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
so.
they're huge.
Oh, I had a question.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So what I'm interested in is also because you're a creative and a business mind. So what really interests me is like switching one off and the other on at different times. Do you ever find that challenging, or do you ever find like it's kind of more natural for you to do that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's definitely more natural because music has always been a part of my life.
Okay.
And most of my collections are always inspired by music, like whether it's just ambient music or just like bands and stuff like that. So it's kind of just always there. And so
Okay.
it's just easy for me.
Gotcha. Because one thing we always talk about is like, you know, when it comes down to business, you know, you got to put your feelings aside.
Right.
So sometimes if I make a song, but the business strategy towards it is like, this ain't it for whatever reason, I got to turn off my emotions and be like, okay, I get it. But even if I'm attached to the song, so that's like one example. So that's what interests me about the whole thing, you know?
Yeah, no, and I totally agree that you do have to have different mindsets for both.
Yeah.
Especially like, because like for instance, music for me is more like my heart and soul, whereas my business is also my heart and soul, but it's also something that's making me money right now.
Yeah.
So it's like I can be more professional with my business and I can feel more with my music, but like you said, you have to turn it on and off
to
like
balance,
when you have to. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. How different is marketing an actual physical product? How different is that than trying to market music and advertise music?
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
I think people weirdly prefer having a physical object, which is why I like doing the collections with my music, because that way people are getting something out of it in a sense other than just a song.
But I'm taking notes right now.
I know, low kills. I'm alright.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's helped a lot. You know, and also like we've done like QR codes and stuff like that. So for music, but yeah, like I would say that advertising music is a lot harder because I hate to say it, but I feel like the music industry kind of messed up artists over that. I feel like people find more value in something when it's like this and that. Like you can get two things out of it instead of just like the one thing, which I'm not saying it's wrong to do that way. That's just how I do it, you know?
That's smart though.
Yeah, and I think it's becoming more difficult because the value of a listen of a song is becoming less, right?
Right.
Like so 20 or 30 years ago, you'd buy your record, you'd buy your CD or your tape or whatever. And like you said, you have this physical object and it took a lot of work to like listen to that. And it was $10-15 for the record or whatever. And you have it. And now today, you don't even see the $9.99 for Spotify leave your bank account. Like you don't even check your bank account that often.
Exactly.
And then it's like, oh, this artist released a new thing. Click, I'm listening to it. So the experience is boom. And like the value of a stream is just, in my opinion, like so low. Like that, like, oh, you got one stream on this song. Well, like that doesn't mean they'll be a repeat listener. That doesn't mean they'll buy from you. That doesn't mean they're a fan, you know? So it's harder to measure.
Now that anybody can upload songs like on these platforms at any level, it's like sometimes people are like, do I take a risk? Just like listen to it. Like, is he good? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing, actually, some advice that my dad gave, because he's also a musician, but it's not something that he's doing professionally or anything like that, was you write songs now to get on someone's playlist. You don't write it for a CD. Because if you think about it, you want it to be something that people are going to listen to on a playlist. Because people don't listen to CDs anymore or listen to like full albums. So I thought that was huge advice. You know?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you ever write songs with like a I don't want to say like a more commercial aspect, but do you ever write a song with a goal? Like, okay, I'm going to write a song that is this mood, maybe reflects this genre a little bit, is like this because I have a goal of like reaching this listener or that, or do you just write and whatever comes out of it comes?
I would say it's a bit of both. I do love storytelling, so I definitely have a goal for every song.
Yeah.
For instance, my first single, Hotel Antoinette, was definitely something I wanted to create to sound more commercial, which I think it was successful, and I hope it was successful.
For sure.
And then like everything has a storyline, so for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, I guess everything has an end goal, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's pretty important because, like, you know, I think there are some artists that I talk to, upcoming artists, and they're like, I'm going to make whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
And if people don't want to listen to that, like, whatever, like, this is for me. And I'm like, well, listen, if you want to build a career out of being a music artist, it's a give and take. You have to satisfy the listener. So I'm all for creatives saying, I'm going to make whatever I want. That's cool. But at the same time, like, if you want people to pay you and put food on your table, you got to satisfy that.
Totally,
you know? So,
I mean, like, it could work. But, but it's like you want to play, like, the lottery like that. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to somehow compromise a little bit to get on people's radar. Because the attention span is, like, small with everybody now, you know?
And it's important too to find kind of like your niche, you know?
Yeah.
Because like for me, I have obviously the goth community. So I'm going to write songs that are going to go towards the goth community.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to write something that's like pop. Which there's nothing wrong with pop. It's just not my thing. So So I think that that's important too, to read your audience or read the people that you want to listen, or who are you going to want to show up at your show? You know, like for me, like obviously being like gothic and alternative is kind of my thing, and like that's important to me. So I'd want those same people to kind of like be there for me. You know, I wouldn't want people who I didn't connect with to not be there. You know,
so Petals and Poison, the band, is like the first band you would say that you've been like more serious about? You want to like make something out of it, or have you played in other bands and stuff like
I've
that?
definitely played in other bands. I've always been serious about music. It was just more so along the lines of were the bandmates serious.
Oh wow.
So
That's
it's one of those
tough.
things.
Yep.
I started off in a band. We did 2 Battle of the Bands when I was 12 and 13. 12, we won second place, and this was between ages 12 to like 40 something. So we got second place.
Nice.
Then the next year we did it, and I got first place, and my dad got second place, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll forever use that against him.
Oh, he was so proud, and I love my dad so much. He's my other best friend, and obviously like huge support. So yeah. I'm trying to think.
That's a crazy point that you made, though. Like because it is tough when you're in a band. You got to rely on other people's schedules.
Right.
How serious they are. They got other commitments. You know, so it's always so tough to find those set of people that you can just rely on like that. You know,
totally. Yeah, and like I think this time around has been a blessing because Grazi, you know Grazi, he's
the man.
He is like. Music is his passion. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I was really blessed to reconnect with him after high school, like probably like, I don't know, 4 years after high school.
Wow.
And we just kind of like started making music because I was like, hey, can you help me with my first song that I wanted to get out? Because I finally was just like, okay, I got to put out my own music. And then so after we did that, it kind of did really well. And we were like, okay, well, we need to start asking other people. Like, I wanted to get real drums in. And I was like, shoot, like, who can we ask? And my best friend, her fiance is a drummer, and he's a professional drummer. Like, he actually did, he gets paid to do, like, tracking drums, like, for things, like, things like that. So now he'll just come over and be like, hey, like, I'll help you guys mix. Like, I'll help you guys do this.
Nice.
And he has, like, all this experience. So it's been such a blessing. And, like, I just know that, like, these people have my back as well. It's another one of those things where it's like, okay, get good people surrounding you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
One thing I realized, it always starts with you, because I think when people notice that you have that passion, they want to be a part.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
totally.
can tell that you give off that vibe and like
thanks.
you're serious about what you do. And I think that's very attractive to like other people who want to get involved. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be like, bro, I'll pay you to like help me. It's like they want to be a part of it, you know?
Yeah. And again, that's a huge blessing. And like, I could talk all day about just all the good people in my corner right now.
That's
but
awesome.
like, even for the music video that we did, like one of my best friends, he basically does directing. So I was like, hey, and I pitched him like the idea, and then he's like, let me go ask my friend if he wants to do this. And like, it was just basically all these friends that like we knew that created this thing, and it turned out awesome. It was so cool. And like, we're trying to see if we can get funding to do more, because that would be the goal, but we'll see.
Dope.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I mean, exactly what you said, like, when you're building a team, right? Like I've talked to artists and they're like, okay, I got to pay the director, pay this person, pay this person, that one. I'm like, or you can really, really grind, show your passion, and just be a little patient. And I promise someone will see that.
Oh, yeah.
And someone will want to be a part of that. And that's not like taking advantage of people. Like, oh, I don't want to pay you. This person, they're willing to do it. I don't have to pay them this and that. It's like, no, like from our experience, we've been blessed enough to have Ryan be a fucking kick-ass hard worker. And like, you know, dancers and like other people have been like, oh, let's work. Like payment, that's not even in my mind. Like, let's just work. And I think that's something that everyone should strive to do and like to be, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And even in my like entrepreneurial ventures and stuff, I've had other entrepreneurs in my network reach out and be like, dude, I love what you're doing. If you need help, just hit me up. And that is such, when you realize that entrepreneurship, like you said, can be communal and very collaborative, you start to look through a different lens and you're like, okay, I maybe don't have to have $1 million to start a business or a band.
Totally.
You know?
Because otherwise, in my opinion, it becomes very transactional and there's a different tone. But we always talk about too, like, it's not like you don't want to pay people.
Yeah. Oh, right.
But it's, you know, at this level, it's like on the come up.
Yeah.
You got to work with what you got.
Oh,
and,
totally.
You know, we're not all rich out here. So it's like, you got to work with, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's just another way to look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a big lesson that you've learned with Petals and Poison, the band, trying to like, you know, do you feel that that Petals and Poison, the band, is at the same level as like the brand? Are you still trying to build it up?
I'm definitely still trying to build it up.
Yeah.
Because right now it's something that I've only released 2 singles, which I still have like 4 more things that I have releasing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the music video is so important because to me, like my brand is so visual. It's important to have that and it's important to have funding behind that. So we did an Indiegogo for our first music video and like we raised, I think, about $2,000, which was awesome.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome. And then like we had people fund us too, which was another blessing. So we're hoping that we can get more funding and more people on board, especially since people like the first music video so much, because I don't want to release something that's like not on par with what that one, the production value of that one.
Oh yeah.
So, and I think that that's beneficial for the YouTube too.
For sure.
So it's hard. It's so weird because like right now, like I'm really good friends with the DP that we had too, and he's like, you have to have a YouTube presence. Like it doesn't matter what you do, like you just have to be pumping out videos because like your fans are gonna love you no matter what you pump out. And it's like, okay, like I could see that. I was like, but I want to do more music. So hopefully the presence of just building that YouTube before like the music video can happen again, like can help with like followers, subscribers, and people who are going to want to help fund, you know?
I think that's always like the tricky part with nowadays with social media. It's like there's like a give and take of what do I like to do as an artist and post?
Right.
And what else do people want and like need? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And there's like that balance of like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't like personally, I don't like making TikToks, right?
Yeah.
But it's like he's grilled me a few times and he's right about it. Like you got to be on there because this is the new shit. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of times I'll be posting stuff I'm not super crazy about, but it's like I know it's beneficial for what we're doing.
Right.
So there's like the give and take with the content.
Totally.
You know what
Yeah. Like YouTube is hard.
Yeah, for
YouTube
sure.
is so hard. But I'm trying, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, TikTok is also hard. Videos in general are hard.
Yeah.
Because like Instagram's easy, you just post a picture.
Yeah.
Now you have to actually edit and like take videos and post it, and which isn't a bad thing. It's just more time consuming for people who don't have that much time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
How much time do you spend like curating your Instagram feed and even your personal feed, like for the brand and the band?
Mhm.
I mean, is Instagram like making up a good percentage of your time? Like I gotta get these great photos and get great content, you know, just content creation. How big is that?
It's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that focusing on like the visuals for my brand
Mhm.
is something that a lot of time and effort gets put into,
Mhm.
and trying to stay on top of it because I post every day. I pretty much don't even like ever double post either
On Instagram?
on Instagram.
Okay.
So it's something that I have to constantly be thinking about, like whether it's an old item or a new item, I have to constantly be like, okay, what's going to be visually pleasing? And what's nice is I just started doing an affiliate program, so we'll see how that goes, where I send out free product to people. And so that way they can take nice pictures too that I can repost and stuff like that.
Nice.
So that kind of helps me out in that area, because most of my time is actually spending on listing items, creating the items, and shipping the items, and also customer service, because I'm doing everything on my own right now.
Wow.
Like, I really need to like hire someone, but like right now it's one of those things where it's like I'll make more money if I hire someone because I'll have more time to create, but I don't have that money right now to pay someone, and I don't want to do that to someone. So it's just one of those things where it's like a balance that you have to figure out. So yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting too, like the whole hiring someone, because I do think it is smart to do that and like pay someone to do it so you have more time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think on the come up, at least in my opinion, like there's also a power to knowing how to do it all.
Exactly.
And so, because I always hear things like, you know, the CEOs of companies like Jeff Bezos, when he first did it, he was doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows what the lowest guy is supposed to be doing, and he can do it better than him probably.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just kicking back like with his feet up, you know what I'm saying? Like he knows how to do all the roles. So I think there is a power to that, which we talk about a lot. But like we talk about too, like there's a time where you got to get smarter and like allocate. But at least knowing how to do it, I think there's a power to that, you know?
Oh, totally.
Mm-hmm. I think we got like 2 minutes left. So one thing I wanted to ask, just for other, you know, to kind of focus on the music a little bit, for other up and coming artists who are like trying to build a strategy or whatever, I think social media is like number one.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
At least on par with the music. Like obviously you got to put everything into the music, but if you can allocate other time or have a manager or someone who's also strategizing on social media, like the first thing I would tell an artist coming up right now is like get your social media dialed in.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that? And what's kind of like your advice for an upcoming artist for social media?
Okay, my biggest advice, I tell this to everyone who I know who is an up and coming artist, get your aesthetic down.
Okay.
Know exactly how you want to dress, invest some money into nice clothing, invest some money into a nice camera, or pay someone with a nice camera to take nice photos for you, because it's important to have that image for yourself. Because if you don't have an image, it's not going to stick. Like, again, I'm going to bring back to my friends, the two twins, Satin Puppets. If you look them up, they have a total look. Yeah. That's just who they are.
Yeah.
And it's important, and people love them for that. Like, people are like just enchanted by who they are, which is exactly what you want to have happen. So you want to be different. You want to be able to have the visuals down to go along with what you're creating, because that's that's like a first impression for someone.
Wow.
So that's why it's super important. Like I will literally tell people, it's like, you need to get a look. Like that's the biggest thing that I would say. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I 100% agree. I totally agree. Jené, thank you so much. And when we have more time and it's not like 1,000,000 degrees in here and the AC works, we should definitely have like a round 2 or a round 3. And I would like to do kind of like maybe like a joint episode with Grazi too. And we could talk way more about music and stuff. Yeah.
Be lots of fun.
Cool.
For sure.
But thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having
appreciate
me.
It.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Show.
All right, cool.
Where can people find you on your socials, like your shop? Like plug everything right now.
I mean, everything is under Petals and Poison. So you can search me up on YouTube, PETALS. I usually use the and sign and then Poison, POISON. Social media is Petals and Poison, one word. That's pretty much where you can find me. I do have my photography, which is Hand Cut Silhouette on Instagram. That's more of my personal one. So it's just my creative like photography and stuff like that. But yeah, so TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It's pretty much what I use. I don't really use Facebook. It's on there. I just don't use it. It's basically Instagram is linking to it. So.
Yeah.
And Spotify, Apple Music, right?
Yes, Spotify and Apple Music. Also Petals and Poison. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, just www.petalsandpoison.com. Like you can go browse my stuff there. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. You heard the woman. Go buy some stuff. Go listen to the music. It's great stuff. And I remember when we listened to some of the unreleased stuff at your house, I was like blown away.
Thank you.
And Jeff, drummer.
Yes,
right?
Jeff.
Dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's really good.
He like when the live drums were on that one track, I looked at you guys, I was like, this is crazy.
I'm super excited.
It's good stuff. So everybody, thank you for listening to episode 46 at JACXB More at Ryan Ramirez Official. Peace out.
What's in your mind for you and for I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, I mean besides, but your feelings inside you. I'm blessing on my mind and my spirit, babe.